some games of StarCraft 2 today as well. Start things off in casting some replays from the Africa Champions Cup. We've been doing a lot of these, and this is going to be no different in that regard. We're going to start in the top right side of Stargazers with our blue Protoss player, MaxPax from Storm Gaming. This is the quarterfinals. We've been working our way through the groups, and we've started to kind of dip our toes into the playoffs. So that's where we are now. As on the top left side, our red Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion. This is ByuN. So I started this series and excited to see how things are going to get going as we kick things off with the barracks and so on. Stargazers is the starting map. Definitely MaxPax's pick here. And definitely one where ByuN might struggle to be as aggressive, or maybe to end it as early, right? There's definitely a map which you can go on a little bit on, so yeah, Protoss players like it. It's a good defendable set of bases. It's still good for the Terran. There's still a few locations they can strike in and drop in, etc. So that's one thing to definitely keep in mind. It's definitely one thing we'll keep an eye out for in general. As do have our racks just coming up, and it's not going to be any sort of proxy or anything to start things out, so just going in a, like I say, pretty normal direction to start. As the gateway finishes up on the main base, we're going to be able to start the cyber course. So some tech will be on the way through for the moment here, as our Reaper will be coming out on the side of ByuN. Yeah, I mean, whenever ByuN and MaxPax play, I feel like they're a very cool match for each other. ByuN really excels in this matchup. I think he does very well in TVP, especially when he can play those kind of aggressive games and stuff. So yeah, definitely what definitely the sort of matchup I think ByuN can do well in. And MaxPax, yeah, he tries to make it weird and funky, but sometimes his PvT goes a bit off from that. Like, MaxPax is really good, but especially really good when he gets to that kind of later game nowadays. Like, he used to be very scary on the blink and everything. Nowadays, I'd say MaxPax is much more exceptional at the, like I say, the earlier stage. And yeah, because of that, I'm kind of, I kind of feel as though it's one of those situations where, yeah, I suppose it's kind of one of those situations where ByuN is very good at, like, throwing MaxPax off before he gets to that point. So it's just difficult for MaxPax to play that kind of awesome game, which is, I guess, in a lot of ways the kind of same reason MaxPax sometimes struggles against Clem, for example, right? I have that in kind of the same sort of kind of book or so, have it under the same sort of setup. As you see, the Reaper going to get nibbled at by the probes, and the Stalker will continue to chase. That is going to be the Reaper pushed away for the moment, up through the top side of the map. So scared away, but it's actually a little bit trapped here. Obviously can't jump out from the in base, so it is going to go down a little bit of scout, but that will be about it for the moment. More Marines producing. Reactor already being done on that. Rack's obviously helping. And yeah, just continuing along from there. So far so good. Just going to see there's a depth then coming across and obviously get some information, do some gathering, figure some stuff out, see what it can get up to. Not a lot of that Widow Mine is going to be able to blow it up, and if the in-base expand as well, Widow Mine does kill the Adept, by the way. And yeah, the in-base expand obviously sets up, and that is a natural expansion just taken straight away here from ByuN. And obviously, MaxPax doesn't have great information on that. He can't do anything to really deny that either, so that's just all stuff he's going to be a little bit stuck on here for the foreseeable future. Probe comes up top, takes the watchtower. Still got that blink continuing through, and that's going to provide a little bit extra setup here. Obviously with that blink and we see 2 extra gates, is going to be that full gateway. So very aggressive from MaxPax. I mean, this was one of the things he was absolutely praised for a lot of the time. His blink all-ins, his 4-gate blink was absolutely some of the best in the world, and he really did show that. Marines come pressing forward. Medevac ends up to the top side, just going to escape out from the top. That's just going to go boosting back through. Going via the watchtower, but looks as though it's going to go all the way home. All this pressure from ByuN then not going anywhere, which, to be fair, against the fact that it's a 4-gate blink, probably pretty good for him that he just kind of goes home, chills out, doesn't do anything too crazy. That generally points you in the right direction, because otherwise you lose too much to these Stalkers, And then defending back at home can actually become quite the problem. So this is kind of putting you in the right direction from the very start. Definitely, yeah, definitely puts you in the right kind of track at least. So, yeah. Have a little skirmish coming through here as we do have our Prism trying to provide an access point. We actually do have 6 SCVs dying, but the Woodermines get to go off for a Stalker. The Probes killed one. I mean, the Stalkers will get rid of the other as well, but still, you know, getting a Stalker is something. It obviously doesn't quite make up for all the work is being lost. We'll drop an Order Turret down. The Stalkers have to scatter as well. The Order Turret will go down too, unfortunately, is going to get picked away at as our Stalkers and the Prism continue back along the left side. A few more Marines continue to produce out the barracks. And that Nexus on the 3rd will be finishing up soon enough as well. Let's get that Nexus finished up. 3 bases across the board here. And see what else we can do, because obviously it's a pretty late Nexus. You still want to apply some good pressure with these Stalkers, and so far that is being achieved. There's a little bit of blinking here, blinking there. Just being as annoying as possible with these Stalkers as previously mentioned. As the Prism pulls back out through this side as well, through the top. And Stim, combat +1, all continuing here. We get charge starting on the side of MaxPax as well, so we'll produce that. And obviously just take the next step in this game, which is to be, you know, closer to that big surge of gateway units. The Stalkers get a few shots off, nibbling at the supply depot just a little bit. Blinking back just slightly. Making their way back through the top side, and again looking for their next access point, looking to see where they'll try to go in the next few moments. Again, see if there's more damage to be done, or if you're just going to kind of contain ByuN for the moment, if nothing else. That could be a pretty reasonable way to look at this. As one SCV goes down, looking to make it another. Got the Marines showing up to start defending, and again, just 1 or 2 SCVs. That's really all you're finding at this point is MaxPax. I mean, ByuN has got a 3rd CC building. And will, in general, ByuN want to be moving onto the map soon just anyways, because this is a situation where ByuN is obviously, you know, he's happy. He doesn't necessarily need the base before now, but he is getting to the point where he has the upgrades to go move for a bit of a push of his own. A little lazy on that medevac. He eventually boosted it, but didn't actually move it anywhere, so he just pressed the boost button and then kind of just let it sit there, like I say. Bio stimming forward after his Stalker's taking damage. He knocked the probe off the watchtower. Gonna turn back around, work our way onto the rocks in the center, and you don't see these rocks being killed very often, but I guess it maybe gives you a little bit of a better chance of setting up a nice little jump onto it, surround or so. Absolutely does no harm to set that up and to clear those out. It's just like I said, it's not something you really see cleaned out a lot. Not very many people want to go kind of north to south in this situation, so south to north, they just usually go left to right across that direction, so yeah. An interesting one, but like I say, probably not too influential in the grand scheme of things. As the bio comes forward, we're going to knock down a pylon, a couple of zealots go down. 2 tanks will siege, and our bio's still pressing up, and just going to be seeing 4 probes going down. The auto turret's all going in the background. None of these Widowmines have gone off. Okay, finally Widowmines went off. Mostly on the Stalkers that blink back. One went onto a zealot that was basically just hitting the bio units instead, because the zealot was already dead to the bio. And because of that, I think MaxPax's going to have an okay time fighting back here. Those bio units will not be able to push any further through. Like I said, I think this one's going to be a bit of a done deal for the moment. There's this little bit of bio. Grabs a zealot kill. A few more mules drop down. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that this one's definitely seen its... this push has definitely seen better days. Going to back away now. Going to try and chase the Prism. The zealots will buy some time. We evacuate 2 of the 4. Most importantly, the Prism gets out alive, though. Without the Prism, obviously, you might be in a little spot of bother there. It's just not nice to lose the Prism, right? So, just good to grab that and see now a single zealot holding the watchtower as well. ByuN actually is going to go across the map here, so feels like he's got the opportunity to make it to the other side. Don't mind blows zealot up. Zealot doesn't last very long, and we will see this Bioforce now going to start running into this 3rd base. So into the 3rd we go. You see a pylon going down, a couple of Stalkers hanging back. The High Templar have to lift up into the Prism as well. Just trying to stay as safe as possible as the mines will do a decent job of zoning, but obviously the Stalkers can set them off as well, so they're not a, you know, a catch everything sort of play. Yeah, ByuN really finding not much damage again. I've got to say, it feels like repeatedly in this game, it's just been ByuN kind of running into a really good defense of MaxPax. MaxPax is not letting ByuN break through. He's not letting him get too far ahead or anything. He's not letting him pick off any important units. He's not losing any workers. MaxPax all around defensively has been pretty solid here in this first map that they're playing. He's lost a lot of Zealots and a few Stalkers, right? I think most of the probes died to the Raven, which is now being cleaned up. But like I say, there's been none of that kind of extra that ByuN usually manages to find. So right now, Storm's coming down, protecting against this Bio Force. Splash damage from MaxPax ringing true as we Storm one more time. ByuN continues to step forward here. Absolutely no reason for ByuN to kind of chill out, right? If he sees that he's gotten past the Storms. No splash damage, he can just try and kite for days, and that's what he will begin to try and do. And he runs all the way over here. I think Zealots eventually will be the issue. With so many Marauders, he's great against the Stalkers, but he's not really got the DPS to fight the Zealots easily. He's doing okay, mostly because there's no +1 armor upgrade on those Zealots. It's on the way, but not ready yet. So that's the only reason ByuN's able to kind of really fight in the slightest, and hence why he's pretty quick to realizing that he needs to just get out of that. It's just not going to be necessarily worth his time. Then comes forward again, using the Ghost to lead the charge. Allowing him to get straight forward. A couple of EMPs soften things up and again make that pathway a little bit clearer just to get in initially. I'm just going to sit down this round. There's just not many Zealots, and that's the issue. Especially as this time they actually do eat the Widowmine shots quite badly. That is the issue, right? Not enough Zealots, and so everything's just dying quickly, and we can't get this 5th base up. ByuN is taking SCV losses on the other side of the map. The Zealots over there already dealing some pretty reasonable damage. Diving forward, the Immortal gets saved by the Prism. The few Ghosts still alive. Widowmine doesn't manage to go off, unfortunately. That would have been a nice little pick-up, of course. We do finish off this 9 SCVs lost. MaxPax's worker count still brilliant, 80 to 65. So still looking pretty comfortable there in general. The 4th base will land and start to build. The 5th Nexus from MaxPax begins to produce. A couple of Archons just still being morphed in, the Zealots as well. Getting rid of the Obs, just a nice little bit of Ghost play to quickly sneak that out. Nice scan. Again, just trying to keep on top of this game. 2-2 upgrades finishing from ByuN, so he will be ahead on upgrades again until the next round of upgrades are done for MaxPax. Then he will retake the lead by an attack upgrade. It's the majority of the difference right now as you press forward. A couple of snipes lined up for some Zealots. May as well take whatever you can get. Because the first storm was a bit of a warning, but nothing died for ByuN. He kind of moved through it unfazed. Obviously, just because he moved through it unfazed doesn't mean he didn't achieve anything. It did deal some damage. It did, provide a little bit of pain there. As the Zealots continue through, a couple of Ghosts get set up. And these Zealots will continue to go down. Gonna see a bit of bio from ByuN up to the top. As that single Zealot gets taken down here, so that will get picked away immediately. Let's push down the bottom right. This pylon looks like it's going to get picked away. That gets killed off as well, as we'll aim for the bottom right-hand corner. There's the first EMP. Obviously, Archon was already here because of the recall, and ByuN honestly not taking a bad fight. Had EMPs to spare, and he just didn't need to drop them. He's got his army at the top as well, which can strike in a moment, especially once he realizes that MaxPax has brought pretty much everything to the south now. Not just the recalled units, but also trying to flank with everything else. Going to have to have a good possibility to get damage done here. It's a lot of Zealots, sure, but alongside EMPs, and again, currently no +2 armor, this Bioforce should do fine. The Prism at least evacuates the High Temple until they have the energy for the storms. So let's get pushed back once again. Just going to be seeing... Well, the drops in the bottom right are going to be the next problem for MaxPax. ByuN's going to drop in with those. These Vikings are going to get rid of this Colossus, maybe even the Prism. These are all things which MaxPax at this point is kind of struggling to keep on affording. With supply dropping a lot as we drop in over here. There's odds that get warped in are terrible answers to the fact that these units are all stacked up, and while we're stemming in on the top side again, so this army is staying extremely active, doing extremely well. Next is going down, probes all being blasted. This is seemingly going to be ByuN taking a game 1 victory in this best of 5. So ByuN gets the first game of the series and is going to open up 1-0. Have a great day, you as well, bro. Thank you so much for the hello. As we have on the top right side, our blue Protoss player is down 1. It is MaxPax from Storm Gaming. And in the bottom left, our red Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion, it is ByuN. So game number 2 as we get into this second map of the best of 5. Here on Waterfall, we do have a probe initially moving forward here to try and get across, try and see a little of what is going down. Waterfall is generally going to be the Terran map pick, so like I said, Stargaze was definitely the initial pick from MaxPax, and it's quite obvious that this is the initial pick from ByuN, so seeing the kind of expected picks here initially, like I say, not really too surprised or anything like that. And we'll get both players expanding quickly as well. I mean, it's a high ground CC from ByuN, but it is still a fast CC from ByuN, right? I think most notably, because, you know, in this day and age, you do see a lot of command centers that come down. MaxPax saw this as well, worth noting. See a lot of command centers coming down after the factory, so yeah, it's high ground, but like I say, it's still quick. And that means that, you know, the factory pressure isn't going to be as quick as you might be expecting if you're more used to seeing the CC on the high ground when the factory comes first. Have I been cheesing on the Korean server? Why would I be doing anything on the Korean server? If I was going to play some StarCraft, I think the last server I'd log on to do anything is the Korean one. I'd a guess. Pilot Council is building, just going to be seeing our Wargate coming through. The Zealot trying to get to the front and trying to swipe through this depot. And one Marine just going to be sitting on the other side. And well, here comes the Stalker as well, so MaxPax will apply some pressure. Got a Hellion to help with this. 2 more Marines popping. This should become pretty okay. Obviously, a little bit of a micro war. ByuN has the high ground used. And obviously, the nice part of this is obviously you do just have the high ground CC, so you're not forced to fighting really. You can back off if you need to. If this was low ground, you're pretty much forced into the fight forever, it feels like, and then it's obviously really not ideal as, oh, that Stalker is going to be very low. Do we have what we need to finish it? Oh, that's sad. A shot away from dying, and I could have had the Stalker as well, which I think actually would have been pretty good for all of these units. Either way, it's going to be seeing our robo facility coming up. Gateway continue to build. And yeah, how many gates are we going to go to? We saw 4 gate from MaxPax last time. Did okay, but I wouldn't say it was really like extremely amazing, right? He didn't really break through anywhere or anything along those lines. So yeah, I'm kind of interested as to... Yeah, he is going to go 4 gates again, right? So yeah, 4 gate blink a second time. Might just be saying, well, this is kind of a Terran map, so I better try to do something aggressive. Better try and do something that throws ByuN off early. Else I really am just going to be in trouble throughout here. I can understand that logic. I can see the reasoning. Well, drop comes across. Good Cyclone lock on as well. Gets a Stalker pretty much straight away. It's a great initial catch. Doesn't get much better than that even as we start to make our way through some workers. We'll see when exactly ByuN decides it's time to just lift and leave. His probes are kind of walled in though, so they don't really have a good place to run to. Now, lifting and leaving is apparently not on the menu as the medevac gets pushed over to the side. Medevac will get out alive, but everything went down. But hey, we got 6 probes, which I think is worth those early units. I think that makes a lot of sense in all honesty, so yeah, that's pretty nice. A Prism. Again, pulling back away down to the bottom left. Raven on the way out from ByuN. Marines in the tank still coming through. The Stalker still warping in. And MaxPax is going to continue a push down to the bottom left. Look to see what can be done as we get forward here. Going to pick off an SCV. Blink straight across for the siege tank. Sees that it's exposed, so just finds an opportunity immediately. Wasting no time at all to get involved in this. Breaks the bunker as well. Takes a nasty tank shot and actually loses a couple Stalkers that are low HP. Yeah, the bunker, removing the bunker is nice because again it removes a little bit of kind of the fortressness that this base would have had otherwise. So it becomes a little bit less easily defended and means you can do stuff like this much more easily because you can get the tank and then you're only fighting Marines, although that's a lot of Marines and that might have been a bad call overall from MaxPax. He's actually down a lot of army supply. He's lost a lot of his Stalkers here, and while the initial pressure's been good, has it been good enough to justify losing this much? I think that's actually a very good question. In fact, I would argue that that is probably a little bit too much lost. The Stalker warps in. We'll drop an auto turret down. I'm going to pick off the probe. Here comes the Prism around the sides again, looking for jump up with these Stalkers into the main. You got to grab an SCV. Just going to go in after some of these Marines as well, looking for a couple of them. And actually doing very well, continuing to grab a few of these SCVs as we go, and some of these Marines end up blinking out through the top side. As the factory's going to move across to build a reactor, the barracks is going to come across to build, or to land onto the tech lab. The Raven's just going to sit there for a little bit as our Raven drops down. The auto turret, one probe going down. Stalker's still taking some damage. Actually, that auto turret probably could have target fired a bit better to have done a little bit more here. This obviously went a little bit wrong. As a few Stalkers continue to gather up. Again, charging +1 continuing through gates. Probes and observer all continuing out as well. 10 Stalkers killed in this game. And MaxPax's army just is not there at all. And this first push of ByuN, when he hits stim and +1 and starts to move out, a little bit worried for MaxPax. Like, he's going to have charge. I'm just not sure he's going to have the units to really warp in with the charge. I'm not sure he'll be able to get to enough Zealots, right? Yeah, like I say, I'm a little worried for MaxPax, I guess, on this incoming push. We've also got the medevac heading to the main already, so a little bit of Marine harassment there. Let's see what MaxPax can do. Down 20 army supplies. He just warped in already. His extra gate's not yet ready to go. He's down an attack upgrade. And he has this Raven still being annoying. We killed another Stalker. Yeah, MaxPax is just not being efficient enough at all. I mean, efficient, absolutely not. 1k resources down. Now these few Marines are doing well. There's odds to have charge at least, so it will force the lift on these Marines. But there are places these Marines can drop to still be of frustration. Here comes the army now, pushing forward. ByuN going to be moving through. First pylon goes down. Going to turn back around for a couple of the Stalkers. And back up to the top. This battery will be getting picked off as well. And yeah, just continue to pick our way through pretty much as many of these Zealots and Stalkers and all the rest as we can. This is just in the fight that MaxPax is winning. ByuN is going to monster mode his way through this. Looking to make this a 2-0. And ByuN is going to have himself a comfortable lead in this series. And I think I was kind of saying I was not really expecting ByuN to do, I guess. I mean, on the top right hand side, we do have a red Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion, and now at a 2-0 lead, has been playing well in this series. It is going to be ByuN. Taking on the blue Protoss on the bottom left side from Sidestorm Gaming, it is MaxPax. And I just have an SCV scout moving on the map. I was kind of wondering if this was going to be anything cheeky, and actually maybe it is. Sorry. Okay, so I looked at this completely wrongly. I thought for a moment that maybe I'm completely mistimed in my head. I'm sorry, but I thought for some reason the dot I saw on the minimap on the Terran base was the barracks already. So I was like, huh, he's just gonna be scouting early. But no, this is actually a proxy, and boy, what a proxy it is! Right next to the main base. Talk about trying to rush the Reaper into that base as soon as possible, right? Like, he wants to get there ASAP and beyond, if possible. So, yeah, that's kind of a little wild as we have a simulator coming through, our gateway setting up, a couple of refineries coming in on the side of ByuN. So he is going to go obviously pretty aggressive with this. It is going to be his goal for the foreseeable future. Let's just have our refinery number 2 finishing, and like I said, this barracks will be finishing up shortly. Allow us a little bit of a jump up into this main. Probe hops in towards the main base as well as have the Nexus setting on up. See if he's going to come chasing that probe around, and again, Reaper going to be finishing, factory coming through. All of this coming in on the side of ByuN right now as Iraq's lifts off and move elsewhere. Reaper comes in and has some probes it can pick at, so we'll definitely be doing that. Try and get rid of some of these. Before our first kill here, gets it. Reaper turns around, continue to hunt probes. Doesn't quite find number 2, and the Stalker's about to be. He'd rather keep this Reaper alive, so he backed it up. I'm just going to bring it through the natural, and we'll be at least done with that for the moment. So yeah, Reaper's going to end up coming all the way back home. The barracks is floating back, and we begin to expand. I mean, all said and done, he killed a probe, got a bit of scouting. Obviously going to kill this probe as well, which has been given perfect information and MaxPax throughout the game so far. So it's going to come through there. The Reaper is able to pick it off. Yeah, we have that Stargate coming down on the bottom side as well. So continue to bring that through. Our Cyclone's about halfway done now from ByuN as well. Our Starport still producing. Manson is still on the way. All of this being brought into play. So far, so good. We're just going to hop into the main and just going to be seeing a couple Stalks continuing to ping through that Reaper for the moment. It's going to be Phoenix, and it's going to be a third CC as well from ByuN, so he's going to really go on the macro side of this. Only one to get that set is just going to be seeing our Starport going to come drop down onto Tech Lock. Cyclone actually has a lock onto the Phoenix for a few moments, but the Phoenix will break that lock, and then suddenly we've got the Stalkers here as well. The new Cyclone shows up. The SCVs just couldn't stay repairing long enough there, and obviously now the Phoenix gets out alive. Now the next Cyclone gets lifted as well. Enough damage to kill it. It is dropping, and it is gone. So MaxPax getting a really good counter push here. Phoenix and Stalkers finding 2 Cyclones so far, and well, I mean, that's just a fantastic start. They're not exactly done yet. They're going to sit here, and SCV spawned it, died straight away. Just going to see all the SCVs going to pull as the other units getting ready to come down the ramp. SCVs get across into the natural immediately, and a couple Marines press forward as well, trying to fight off those Stalkers. The Marine will also end up being killed here. Couple Stalkers still fighting, SCV still going down. Light work is killed for the moment as we have the Raven dropping down an order turret. Cyclone picks off the Phoenix. And again, the Cyclone and 2 Marines just going to come moving on forward here. Keep an eye on things as the Nexus sets up on the side of MaxPax. MaxPax is going to get more damage done. Look at the lead he's got off of this. I mean, just the 2 Phoenix and 2 Stalkers have kind of created this, right? The natural not being able to mine and produce. It's a 16 worker advantage. MaxPax feels extremely safe, so Chrono Boost can go into probes as well, building his worker count up. That's just been a fantastic start from him, and I see him bouncing back a little. Obviously, you're down 0-2 in this series. Very easy to just kind of continue to kind of flounder and fail and all the rest, right? So let's sort of take a little bit of a step back in that regard. As the Raven finishes up a couple of racks, we'll be producing. And the Starport just going to move off the tech lab over to the side. The Phoenix will grab an SCV, and we'll start to pick away at the medevac Starport as well. Just again keeping good control of the game. I'm very worried about this Raven. That Raven is a very easy target for these Phoenix, of course, and it's very tough to keep it alive. Even if the Phoenix just see it right now, they could dive on it probably to some extent. A handful of shots does a lot. Yeah, there you go. You're going to lose a Phoenix, but to kill the Raven, the amount of utility the Raven provides is insane. And of course, it's expensive. It takes a long time to build. It requires that tech lab on the starport. All of these things which ByuN just doesn't have anymore. So, yeah, for one Phoenix, killing the Raven, 100% worthwhile. And probably could have even been for no Phoenix at all if, like I say, he just maybe noticed a split second sooner. Dove on it immediately. And then, because he kind of saw it late. He saw it when he was already locked onto. And it was still a pretty easy pickoff, like I say. It's still a worthwhile pickoff. So, yeah, definitely something to note in that regard as how Phoenix continue to cruise through the center of the map. Rack's still coming up. That armory coming in behind the natural. 1-1 engineering bay upgrades are coming through as well. Now Cyclone is straight away there once more to lock onto a Phoenix and to say, "Nuh-uh. Stay the hell away. Don't come close." Yeah, seemingly pretty serious about it for now, as Phoenix will turn back around and start to look up toward the main, if possible. Lots of gates coming down, Temple Archives coming in from MaxPax, the Prism, Charge, Extended Thermal Lands, all continuing through. I set there a couple of tanks just outside of the third base as well. Again, just seeing the +1 attack, combat stim, armor upgrade too. All of this continuing to be brought into play. Just to have the force of MaxPax making its way to the upper right-hand side. Again, set to keep pressing forward. MaxPax. A push which, I mean, ByuN has the upgrade advantage in 1-1, but he doesn't have stim yet. And without stim, you've got to imagine an army like this of MaxPax is somewhat unkillable. This is 2 Colossi, triple Archon, Phoenix to support. Gonna start warping in Zealots. We'll have our first +1 upgrade as well, so at least it's not a complete upgrade lead for ByuN. I mean, it is a very good defensive position. Okay, there's a Cyclone he brought up to this high ground. We lift all 3 of the tanks. The Marines are not getting a chance to target those Phoenix down, so the tanks are just lifted the entire time. Finally, we hit our tank dropping back down. I believe we've had 2 tank shots in this entire fight. That one on the top left finally fires a few extra, and it gets the Colossus nearly. It's super low. Nothing else apparently can find it. The Phoenix will give themselves up to lift the siege tanks once again. There's just not the Marine count now to actually make the difference on those Phoenix. And MaxPax just swarms from a very good opening and is able to hence take victory here in this game number 3. Is able to take the at least point on the board, right? I mean, it's been kind of a depressing series for I might have brought us down a little bit too soon there, but looks like we're good. Just about. It's close. Turned out okay. In the top left, keeping this series alive and at least giving us an extra game of StarCraft 2 in this best of 5. Let's see if you can make it another. It's Blue Protoss top left from Psystorm, MaxPax. Bottom right, our red Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion. This is ByuN. So I guess give me a sec. 2-minute delay means I have to be waiting every now and again to press the add button while the games wrap up on the delay, and I'm obviously already into the next one. Feature Wardy and past Wardy interacting. A beautiful thing, I'm sure. For a spectator. For me, I've said it once, I've said it many times, and I'll say it again and again and again. A 2-minute stream delay is such a mind-boggler. It is crazy just how much of an impact it has compared to just like literally just a 1 minute 30, like a 90-second delay is actually so much different. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Reaper on the way up. Second Rax is building as well on the side of ByuN, so Reaper, second Rax, third Rax actually, sorry, so 3 Rax opening on Moondance. I'm just gonna bring it back to the bio and just go full on bio tier 1 unit spam to open up with and see if that's strong enough to catch MaxPax off guard and get some damage dealt. So let's see if it's gonna be the correct move from ByuN. I mean, it's the kind of style, it's the kind of build which I think ByuN absolutely kind of encapsulates ByuN's playstyle, right? It's aggressive, it gives him the micro early, it gives him the units he can harass with later. It does set you into the right direction for the kind of game you usually want to be playing as ByuN, so I think in that regard, at the very least, it's quite exciting. There's that probe just nibbling up against the tech lab, concussive shells, taking some shots. That Marauder is going to be finishing in a moment as well as the Reaper and Marauder together. We'll take the probe down. Obviously, the probe saw the tech lab already, so not a huge reveal to see the Marauder. That was always a possibility. What's interesting is that this is such a fast concussive shells, which might then still be kind of a telltale sign, right? Because this is still a faster Marauder than usual. So yeah, it kind of says to MaxPax, yo, be a bit careful about me, right? But then the other cool thing about this is if you play concussive shells and then your opponent sees concussive shells, they might then assume any sort of stim timing is going to be much later, which usually it would be because that's your one tech lab barracks. But there is a second tech lab barracks, and that might be the assumption you don't make straight away as MaxPax. You might just think, oh, this is like a bit of a Marauder push. He doesn't know what else is coming his way, because he might have just assumed this was an expansion. And it's not an expansion. Maybe I wasn't clear enough on this. This isn't just 3 racks, la-di-da, it's all fun and games. This is 3 racks, no expand. This is a 1 base commitment here from ByuN. Oracle activates. Reaper attempts to escape. Just go down to the Oracle. And the Oracle just going to pull back down the right-hand side of the map. We do have a good little push coming. Then, like I said, the first Marauders will already having that concussive shells means you can come across quite aggressively here. The Stalkers have to be very careful. Going to start fighting. The Super Battery gets popped immediately. Boy, there's really not a lot to even protect with the Super Battery being up. But not far from Stim. I think MaxPax is in trouble because I do not think he recognizes just how committed this is and how many units are going to continue coming his way. I mean, his Warp Gate is finishing as Stim is about to complete. That's kind of the pressure that you're under here. You know, as you're finally able to build units properly, your opponent has one of the most powerful upgrades of the game finishing, right? Yeah, ByuN kind of waiting for combat shields as well. Would love these Marines to go in with a bit of extra HP on them as well. That's always going to help too. And here we go. If you SCVs leave the charge, Biostim's in. The battery will not last very long. Obviously, it was just a regular battery. Overcharge was already used. We killed off the Phoenix. That wasn't really going to do much. Lifting a Marauder, I guess. Yeah, this Natural is in a lot of trouble, and MaxPax taking some heavy hits. He's retreated into the main, and I think ByuN realizes as well, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't let you just walk away from this. He's going to find this pylon here. That's all the production of MaxPax shut down and taken offline. As the probes continue to pull in, they are right to do so. They need to do so. Now, Oracle's actually doing very well. The Marines will fall. The Marauders get to last a little while longer, though, and they hence are able to... Oh, they should have had at least the bottom side Stalker. That Stalker... They split the damage on the Stalkers at the end, and that was obviously a bit of a mistake. Could have had at least one extra kill. We clean out even more probes, though. Continue to get those pickoffs. We continue back in with even more bio. That pylon just continuing to get shot at, and more probes going down. The Stalkers continue to drop. This is just going to be our Bioforce of ByuN. A little bit too much all said and done. Sub goes down, probe, oracles, everything just continuing to drop. And yes, this is, like I said, definitely seeming as though we've got game on the board, as ByuN does take the win with 18 SCVs to 0 probes. Yes, it was over, guys. It was definitely over. It was just, I was about to say, it's 18-0 in worker count, and boy, it really was kind of a hefty worker difference, as ByuN wins this 3-1. Pretty convincing series from ByuN, right, from start to finish. Third game was a bit rough, kind of went wrong very early. But after the third, other than the third game, first game very comfortable. First game was more back and forth, but I wouldn't really say MaxPax. I mean, both times MaxPax opened the 4-gate blink in the first 2 games, he never really found enough. And so ByuN was able to maintain enough of a lead from there and really just play the game out in general from there, right? So, yeah, definitely feel like it made quite the difference. As we will, guys, wrap this one up. Let's go on to the next.